Hello, welcome to ReFrame Pilates with Holly Spence. I'm taking you through a short pregnancy Pilates flow today. I'm currently 27 weeks pregnant myself at the time of filming, so this is suitable for all stages of pregnancy, or perhaps even if you're not pregnant as well. Settling into the floor, I want you to get comfortable, so whatever you need to do, whether it's a block or a cushion, just sitting well grounded with the sit bones and lengthening the spine. We're going to bring the hands onto the belly so we can take a few gentle belly breaths to warm up. So when you're ready to breathe in, I want you to really fill the lungs, fill the belly up, let it expand outwards. And as you're drawing in your in-breath, I want you to gently lift the pelvic floor, draw the navel and the belly in towards the spine. So we find an in-breath and you soften, let go, the pelvic floor releases, and as you exhale, drawing upwards and inwards, engaging pelvic floor transverse abdominis. Good, just take a couple rounds here, filling up, and then letting all that air go. Eyes can be open or closed, whatever you like. And then from there, we're going to start to move the spine a little bit. So resting the hands onto the knees, you're going to exhale as you flex the spine back. As you inhale, circle your arms to the back, lift your heart, lift your chest to the ceiling. So exhaling to round, inhaling to open up to the sky. A really nice way to just start to gently move through the back. You'll be rolling slightly forwards and back on your sitting bones here, so paying attention to any stiffness or tight spots you might feel in your lower back or your upper back, and just starting to gently mobilize, trying to create some space here. And then we're just going to take some gentle circles with the ribs. So don't worry too much about it. Just start to rotate the rib cage around in one direction. Using your breath here, just letting it flow as your spine articulates around, and then we'll change the direction, of course, as well. So when you're ready to switch the direction around, just start to gently circle around in the other direction. And then come and find a place that's centered. We're going to breathe in, take the arms up over the ceiling, and then twisting round to one side of the room. You're going to breathe in, lift your hands back up to the ceiling, split the arms, one to the front, one to the back as you rotate. So grow tall on your inhale and try to take that length with you as you exhale and rotate. So we feel that the priority here is lengthening, elongating the spine. And then we're just getting a gentle rotation through the upper, middle back. Bringing the hands back to the floor on either side of you. Just roll the shoulders a couple of times just to settle them down. And we're going to transition off the seated position and come to 4-point kneeling. So as you ground yourself into the mat, spread your fingers nice and wide, placing hands under shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Activate the arms and the shoulders. We're going to drop the chest down and allow the shoulders to squeeze together, and then push the chest away, allow the shoulders to separate. This is just to give you a bit of awareness of the scapular mobility and stability that we have, so that hopefully we can find a place that's a little bit in the middle of those two extremes where you feel the shoulders strong on the back. And we're going to draw up with the belly as you round the spine into your first cat stretch, and then elongate the spine out to perhaps a gentle extension. Starting from the tailbone, I want it to ripple up through the length of the spine. Head is last, and then the tailbone elongates out and the head is last. So can we find as much sequential movement here as possible, articulating one bone at a time? You can still keep working on pelvic floor breathing here. So as you exhale, you can draw up into the pelvic floor, finding that cat, and then you can release the pelvic floor, feel the sit bones widen behind you. Moving again into your cat, we're going to take your cat, shift it back. Lay your elbows on the floor, looking forwards a little bit. We're going to shift our body weight forwards and then pressing back up onto all fours. So rounding the spine into your cat, laying the elbows down on the floor, shifting forwards, pressing up. You strengthen your arms to push up. Just getting a nice little flow and rhythm here. This feels wonderful on the spine if you've been sitting all day or have tension in your low back. Just getting some movement, articulation, and warming up those arms a little bit. Good. So then we're going to start to move into a little bit of a rounded cat again, this time tucking the toes under, and we're going to lift the knees up so you come into an inverted V or a downward dog position. As you exhale, come down to just hover the knees above the floor and then press up and back again. So as you exhale, you're just hovering above the mat, and as you inhale, pressing up and back into that inverted V. So this is a little bit more challenging, a little bit more dynamic. If you're in your later stages of pregnancy, you might just want to leave the knees down and take a few more cats. It's perfectly fine. But if you're feeling good and energized, go for it. Nice little abdominal series here. And then we're going to land back on the mat and lengthen the spine back out, finding a neutral position. Take your right arm out to the side, look up to the ceiling with it, and then feed it all the way underneath. We're moving into a thread the needle here. So a gentle rotation for the spine, and then taking that arm back up to the ceiling as you breathe in. As you exhale, feed it underneath, rotate. Take an in-breath to hold it, and as you exhale, back up again. We're going to do the same thing with the other side. So when you're ready, breathing in, lifting left arm up to the ceiling. As you exhale, feed it underneath. Find your spinal twist. Treat this like a single arm press up if you can. So at this point, your right arm should be bending out to the side as you come down into the twist, and you treat it like a press up for that right arm to reach yourself back up to the ceiling. Placing the hand back down onto the mat, take another cat stretch, and then this time we're going to move and flow into a bit of a circular cat. So I want you to be really free here. Try not to overthink this too much. Try and draw a circle with your head and a circle with your tailbone, and just let this movement kind of ripple through the back. Do a few in the other direction if you can figure out, sometimes coordination-wise it's a bit tricky, but it's just a really easy way to release tension in the back. So try not to overthink it, just flow. Moving another time into a cat stretch, this time we're going to roll up to a high kneeling position. So as you stack the bones of the spine up in high kneeling, place your hands on your hips. We're going to hinge back, so sitting the bum down towards the heels, then I want you to do a pelvic tilt and roll yourself back up to high kneeling. So you stick your bottom out as you hinge back, lift the pelvic floor, draw the navel in towards the spine as you roll to lift back up. This is a tricky exercise sometimes to feel, but I'm hoping what you can feel is a bit of work down the front of your thighs. So make sure you keep your weight transferred back far enough that you can load up the front of your thighs and feel that work there. I'm trying to work the legs as well as get some spinal articulation and abdominal contraction. When you're back up to high kneeling, we're simply going to reach the arms out in front of you, and you're going to lean your whole body back. And then you tip yourself forwards, maybe list a little tipping point there, and then leaning back. So now you should be hinging just from the knees, and you sort of imagine you're in a plank position from the knees towards the head. And once again, this work should be felt in the front of the thighs. Your thighs will tell you kind of how far you're able to lean back here. But it's a really nice way to elongate the front of the thighs and really build strength. We need to be strong throughout our pregnancies. We've got a marathon coming up. So from here, you're going to transition to lie down onto your side, because my other favorite thing to do in pregnancy is to work on glutes. So lying on your side, you can use your hand, underarm, underneath your head. Any cushions you need to make yourself comfortable here, feel free. We're going to have the knees bent at about a 45-degree angle. Try to elongate both sides of the waistline, and you're going to just keep your top knee bent as you lift it up and down. So it's a little variation on oyster. We're going to be lifting the foot as well as the knee, but the idea is to keep the pelvis really stacked. So the hip bones are square on top of one another, the spine is stable, the shoulders are square one on top of the other, and just let your breath flow here as you move the leg up and down. Then we're going to start to take some circles. So if you circle your knee around, if you need more stability, your top band coming onto the floor in front of you will give you a little bit of added stability here. If you want more challenge, you leave it back up onto the hip. Just change the direction of those knee circles, keeping that breath flowing and keeping the stability of the spine and the pelvis. And then from there, we're going to move into an exercise where we start to lengthen the legs straight out with a nice flex on the foot and then bend the knee in. So by sense, I want you to feel like you are reaching the heel towards your front of the room. So you really press out with a strong flex of the foot, and then you bend the knee back in. And by by now you might be starting to feel a little bit of warmth, a little slight burning sensation in the outer hip and glutes, and if that's what you're feeling, that's perfectly fine. Know that you can take breaks, of course, if you need to. You're going to hold the leg lengthened when it's next there, and I want you to take some little pulses, just pulsing, lifting the leg up. Then point the toe. We're going to take a few more circles with a nice lengthened leg. And then we'll go in the other direction, circling the thigh bone within the hip joint. Wonderful. And then bend your knees, come down to rest. We're going to do a little press-up series. So take your bottom arm and hold on to your top shoulder. Your top arm will be onto the floor and flat in front of you. Try and press yourself up using just that top arm. So you're going to press up to a sort of angle and then lower yourself down with control. This is harder than it looks, I would say. And especially as you're in later stages, things get heavier. So on this next one, you're going to use your other arm to help you come and ease yourself up to a seated position. Keep your feet pointed in the same direction they were, and we'll take an open mermaid position with the legs so that you can lean into a nice side reach. So we'll just move a couple of times from side to side here so that you can feel a sensation of elongation down the waistline, a little flow here with the arms from side to side. Feels really nice on tight ribs. And then we'll just change over and do this whole series on the other side. So as you shift yourself to come to lie down, make yourself comfortable, whatever you need to do that. Lining up the spine, stacking up the hips and the shoulders, feet and knees are about at a 45-degree angle bend at the knees, and then you just start to lift and lower that top leg. So we should be starting to focus on feeling some work in those glute muscles. My favorite stuff to do in pregnancy actually is to continue to work on the glutes. We need strong glutes to support our bodies as we carry this extra weight. So we're going to move into those little knee circles now, where you would draw a circle with the knee, still stabilizing the hips and the pelvis and the shoulders. Just letting the breath flow, change the direction of those knee circles, and try to find softness in the neck. Just as before, if you need support, bring the hand down, otherwise leave it on your hip. And then we're going to move into lengthening and bending the knee. So as you lengthen the leg out, flexing strongly on the foot, bending the knee in, keep that pelvic positioning nice and stable. Try to focus on the length here rather than the height. I want you to feel really long and strong through that top leg. So from there, we're going to move into those little pulses. So pulse, 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 lifting the leg up, keeping that nice strong flex on the foot. Really reach out through the heel, then point your toe. We'll take these final few circles with a lengthened leg, getting the leg as long away from you as you can, changing the direction of those circles. And then you can let the knee come down to rest. We're going to set up for the press up. So bottom arm holds onto the top shoulder. Top arm presses onto the mat in front of your chest, so you can use it to try and push yourself up to a semi-seated position and try to slowly lower yourself down. This is all about control here. And try not to cheat and use that bottom elbow if you can. It has a little habit of trying to sneak in there sometimes. So on this next one, you can push yourself all the way up. Use your other hand to help you. Again, we'll keep the legs to the same end of your mat, but just open them to a mermaid position and then lean into a nice side reach. Take a nice inhale as you reach up and over, and exhale coming back up. Inhale, reaching up and over. Exhale, coming back up. Just elongating the waistline. And from here, we're going to move into a little bit of a stretch. Sometimes this is a bit tricky. If you find it uncomfortable, you may need to sit on a block. But if you swing your legs into a loose cross, so one is gently in front of the other, and depending on how big things are, how much space you have, keep your spine long and then just walk your hands out in front of you. Come as low as feels comfortable to you. You might not be as low to the floor as I am, and do not worry at all if you're feeling a stretch in your hip and glute. That's what I want you to feel. You're going to take your hands over to one side of the room and just feel a sense of stretch now coming down the lower back. You might be able to notice that one sitting bone lifts a little bit here. Try and keep them down. And then bringing the hands back into the middle, walk them back up through the middle, and we'll just simply change the cross in the leg. So the leg that is in front is the one I want you to feel a deeper stretch in. So as you walk the hands gently out in front of you, move to a place you feel comfortable. Everyone will look different. Soften into the stretch and just take a few gentle breaths here. Breathing in and breathing out. And then just like before, we'll walk the hands over to one corner of the room. Take a few more breaths here. Feeling a gentle low back stretch as you anchor down through the sitting bones. And then walking the hands back into the center, just gently ease yourself back up to take any comfortable seated position, whatever that is for you. Thinking of posture, shoulders back and down, spine elongated, and then just tip your head to one side. As you exhale, gently roll the chin down towards the chest, and as you inhale, allow the ear to tip to the shoulder on the other side. Again, exhaling, chin to chest, and inhaling, ear to shoulder. You've done some great work here today, building a little bit of strength, a little bit of stretch. So very well done. Thank you very much for practicing with me, and I wish you all the best.